Yapalingana, the remote west coast of Lutruwita, Tasmania, isn't exactly the place you'd expect to hold the only electric railway in a history, but it sure isn't the only surprise this region has had. The mining boom at Waratah, centred on a massive tin lode at Patinamana, Mount Biscoff, led to the development of many railways throughout the region. Yet, as the boom seemed to be dying off, in 1907, the Mount Biscoff Railway became the first and only line in Lutruwita to become electrified. Hi, I'm Jess. I run the YouTube channel Tasmanian. In this video, we'll explore the history of Tasmania's only electric railway, its rise and fall. In 1871, James Philosopher Smith discovered rich tin ore at Patinamana, then a remote location 50 kilometres inland from the port of Mutawainatji, Emu Bay, and founded the Mount Biscoff Tin Mining Company in 1873 to capitalise on this new development. The company built its new smelters on Leakila North Esk River in Launceston, with the first furnace lit in January 1875. Ore was initially transported by drays to Mutawainatji for export or transfer to Launceston, while work began on constructing a horse-drawn tramway from Mutawainatji to Waratah was undergone by the Van Diemen's Land Company. Our story truly starts here, when in 1875 a 3-foot gauge horse-drawn wooden tramway was constructed by the Mount Biscoff Company between Waratah Falls and their mine dressing plant, a distance of 1¼ miles. Shortly after, the tram was extended along Smith Street all the way to Rouse's Camp, located about 2½ miles from Waratah Falls. From this camp, traffic would be loaded onto horse-drawn drays and transported to Mutawainatji. This changed when in February 1878 the Van Diemen's Land Tramway opened, turning Rouse's Camp into an interchange station of passengers and cargo. The same year, the Mount Biscoff Company decided to modernise their operation. The line was fully upgraded to metal rails and steam locomotives, with a 5-ton Bayer Peacock locomotive ordered from England, shipped to Lutruwita, and transported by rail to Waratah in June 1881. At the time, enormous dividends were being paid to shareholders of the Mount Biscoff Company, and the future looked really bright. Once this new locomotive arrived, the first powered railway on the west coast was operational. It was trialled in July and had its first service on the 8th of August 1881. This was a success, and the company ordered a second locomotive, arriving in Waratah in July 1883. This locomotive, also a Bayer Peacock, was larger and stronger than the original one, getting the local nickname of the Big Engine. In July 1884, the railway from Mutawainatji was extended from Rouse's Camp into Waratah, terminating above Waratah Falls and another interchange with the tramway. I haven't been able to find any proper information to whether the tramway from the Falls to Rouse's Camp continued to operate after this point. Over the next 2 decades, the tramway and its 2 locomotives worked the busy line without issue, and unlike many other mining operations further down the coast, the mines here did not fade out quickly. In 1905, traffic was still growing, and the company decided to act. Waratah was perfectly sited for hydroelectricity, with a river flowing through the town centre over a massive waterfall. A power station and dam were built, with electric power to be the future of Waratah. At the same time, the decision was made to electrify the tramway from the Falls to Patinamata. An order was placed with the Westinghouse Electric Company to produce a locomotive which was shipped from America to Mutawainatji, arriving in Waratah in early 1907. Following this, the 2 steam locomotives were retired, seeing little use and largely living in the sheds for the remainder of their lives. 2 20-inch gauge electric engines were also commissioned for use on underground haulage at the mine. From 1907 onwards, the first electric railway in Lutruwita opened, hauling tin ore, workers and materials from Waratah to Patinamata. Following the end of the Second World War, the price of tin declined as works around Waratah were reduced. The mine struggled for a time, before the mining operation, treatment plant and tramway were closed in October 1929 at the start of the Great Depression. 116 men lost employment and the town of Waratah began to shrink rapidly. In its 56 years of history, the Mount Biscoff Company had mined over 6 million tonnes of ore, producing 79,000 tonnes of tin for Lutruwita. After the closure of the company, tributers worked the mine, using horses to haul services over the railway. It's likely the electrification was taken down early in this period. The railway into Waratah was closed in 1940, leaving the old Mount Biscoff line isolated. But this was not the end. In 1943, the Commonwealth Government intervened in the operations, reopening the tramway and using a 6-ton petrol international-style engine to haul services between the mine and the falls. This operation ceased on the 13th of August 1947, following the end of the Second World War, and the tramway was ripped up in the years following. Well, this brings me to the end of this video on a very random but fascinating railway in Lutruwita. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you want to learn more about this, I encourage you to join my Discord server, which is linked in the description and the comments. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time on Tasmanian.